Well, tonight, a closer look at something seldom used, but it's getting attention from lawmakers in Montana and Wyoming, the controversial issue of the death penalty. Last week, the Montana House passed House Bill 244. It would put Montana back on track to resume executions. That bill, sponsored by Billings Republican Representative Dennis Lenz, changes language in the state law concerning the drugs used in lethal injection. The bill now goes to the Senate. And this week, another bill that would have abolished the death penalty in Montana was tabled without discussion. Montana's last execution was in 2006. Meanwhile, in Wyoming, several groups are involved in the effort to try and repeal the death penalty, and they came pretty close to succeeding 2 years ago, falling just a few votes short. Another bill is expected to be introduced in the coming week, and some of the opposition to capital punishment is coming from those who've been most hurt by violence.
It was in 1993. My mother was working at a convenience store here in Green River, Wyoming.
30 years ago now, and she was 24 years old. She was working as an entertainer, singing and dancing in Great Falls.
And a random individual came in and kidnapped, took her out to an area where he then raped and strangled her to death.
And she'd been in a relationship that had been very stormy. We got a call that she had been shot, and it was a really dark and long, hard time.
Sue Dupree and Crystal Martin share a tragic bond of losing a loved one to murder. They're also both members of a group called Wyoming Conservatives concerned about the death penalty. Sue has served as a pastor of churches in both Wyoming and Montana.
I have consistently argued against it for the last 30 years. Really, I felt like it was one way that I could honor the life of my daughter to just speak up for life in general.
Crystal not only lost her mother as a child, 25 years later, she also lost her husband to homicide.
Then, as an adult in 2014, my husband was shot in the head and burned in a fire pit.
She later began studying criminal justice and learned about a restorative justice program in Wyoming that allows victims' families to meet an offender in hopes of bringing about healing. It would bring her face to face with the man who killed her mother.
You know, at first it was really scary walking into the prison. I'll tell you that. You know, the gates closing behind me, just slamming, making me jolt, not knowing what to expect. But then when I got in there, it was empowering. It was, I get to lead the conversation. I get to have the questions answered that I've been waiting so long to have answered.
Did you forgive him?
I did. I absolutely did. He's a human being, just as anybody else is.
Wyoming has only executed one person since capital punishment was reinstated, and that was in 1992. There's no one awaiting execution. But last year, the U.S. Supreme Court cleared the way for a possible return to death row for Dale Wayne Eaton by declining to hear his appeal. Eaton, now 75, could be resentenced to death for the horrific 1988 kidnap, rape, and murder of 18-year-old Lisa Marie Kimmel, who'd been driving home to visit her parents in Billings from Denver. Eaton was linked to Kimmel's murder in 2003, her car found buried on his property. The time and costs involved in a death penalty case are two of the reasons why opponents argue against it.
You don't see it as a deterrent in any way?
Absolutely not. No, I see it as an easy way out.
It hasn't been proven to be a deterrent. I've studied the issue a lot, and the statistics don't bear out a deterrence on it.
Yeah, a lot of people do feel eye for an eye. For me, I feel that there's no justification in taking another person's life, no matter the harms that they cause you.
But Crystal believes the money spent on death penalty cases would be better off going toward victims' families or other efforts to prevent crime. The cost of a death penalty case also got the attention of the state's Republican governor, Mark Gordon, who said last summer that Wyoming may implement a moratorium on the death penalty to save money.